Are we rolling? Oh, okay. Welcome back to another episode on Mewing Channel. Today we are going to be talking about proper tongue posture. Now, it's something really important. I will be going back and forth in this video between saying lower third of the tongue and root of the tongue. Really, they're the exact same thing, but for your peace of mind, you're going to want to think of it more so as the root of your tongue. And the reason I say this is, if you think of it as the lower third of your tongue, you're probably thinking about the tip of your tongue in the middle of the tongue. And the thing about the tip in the middle of the tongue is you can stick them out. You can move them around outside of the mouth. But the lower third of the tongue, more accurately the root of a tongue, is rooted. It is rooted in your craniofacial structure. It will not, you can't stick out the lower third of your tongue. That doesn't work. Now this also helps you out when visualizing how exactly you engage the lower third of your tongue. Considering that it's the root of your tongue, whenever you engage the root of your tongue, it's almost like, the best thing I can give you here, it's almost like you're picking up your throat, because it's really in the root. You feel it like down around the chin here. And what you're feeling is the contraction of the suprahyoid muscles, the muscles right above the hyoid bone. And the hyoid bone, it's this horseshoe-shaped bone, goes around like this. And whenever you contract the suprahyoid muscles, putting the root of the tongue, engaging the root of the tongue, putting the lower third on the palate, what happens when you do that is essentially you're picking up the hyoid bone with the suprahyoid muscles and putting the lower third of the tongue on the palate. You're putting it on the back third of the palate. Now, engaging the lower third of your tongue, that's the challenging part. That's the one part everyone runs into trouble with, myself included. So the way it works, there's a real simple trick we can use to make this work. And the way the simple trick works is all you have to do is say, sing. I'm not kidding. All you want to do is say, sing, and you want to emphasize the NG on the end of it. So you want to go, sing, sing, and you want to practice this quite a bit. And in fact, once you're really accustomed to emphasizing the NG, maybe just even do the NG alone. So just go, ing, ing. Now, once you've bugged your friends and family enough with the ing exercise, and you've grown pretty accustomed to it, the next step is to actually be able to engage the root of the tongue without saying ing every time. And the way this works is, well, you're going to be doing the ing exercise again. Yep, you're going to be doing it again. And so you want to put your hand on your throat, and you want to feel like the Adam's apple, and what you're going to do is you're going to say ing, 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 and you're going to have to play around with this, maybe put your hand up a little higher, and wherever you can feel an upwards movement whenever you say ing, that's where you want your hand to be. And essentially, you just want to get a feel for it. So, ing, 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 and you want to get it to a point where you don't have to say ing every time. You want to play around with trying to make that movement without saying ing. So, like this. Now, this is going to take some time to get down. I'm not guaranteeing that it's going to happen overnight. I mean, personally, for me, it took a bit of time to get down, and even once I got it down, I had to fine-tune it a bit, and even today, mewing consistently for nearly 2 years, I'm still fine-tuning it. I'm still finding, oh hey, now that I've created more space, I can get my tongue even further back on my palate, and I'm still messing with that. Now, if you're engaging the root of the tongue properly, what you'll find is there's this force that kind of causes your head to tip down. So for example, if I just relax my tongue and tip my head up a little bit, and then I decide to engage my tongue. Well, engage the root of my tongue. kind of does this, it creates this force in which your head just naturally tips down. Much like in a Mackenzie chin tuck exercise, you'll find that your head just kind of tips down. Now your head's not going to tip down to the point where, you're like just constantly looking down. No, it's just going to kind of bring it to a point where it's not like tipped back. It's not just rolled back and nose high in the air. That's another big thing that'll help you out when trying to figure out how to engage the root of the tongue, is to practice an exercise known as Mackenzie chin tucks. I'll link a video on how to do those in the description down below. To a whiteboard. Wait, is it this way? Yeah, let's just skip to the whiteboard, okay? Here is an example of improper tongue posture. I've sketched out the bony structure to give you an idea of where the tongue is within the mouth. Just so you know, this is the mandible right here, and it's jagged right there because I cut off the part of it that extends up, known as the ramus. So that way you can see what else goes on here. So when most people hear about mewing, the first thing they do is they put their tongue right on this one tip before the two front teeth. And while that is important, you still have to get the rest of your tongue here back up on the palate. So to get your tongue here, all you have to do is say N. Like literally just go N, N, N. And you can have some fun with it too. I mean, if you want, you could be like N, 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 N. And then you could kind of put together a little song like Batman, if you know what I mean. And here I have an illustration of proper tongue posture. As you can see, the entire tongue just pretty much fills up the entire mouth. So we've got the very tip of the tongue hitting that one point, that end point, but also you can see the tongue, the middle, the back of it especially, is up. Now an important thing to note too is that when the tongue is here, when the tongue is correctly positioned on the palate, it is pushing upwards, and also you've got this forward movement as well, because essentially you're using the tongue, you're pushing the maxilla at this vector upwards and forwards. That's like Dr. Mike Mew always mentions, trying to get the maxilla to move upwards and forwards, and that's exactly what you're doing with proper tongue posture. I mentioned this too because some people who mention they can't breathe while mewing, what happens is there's not enough forward movement of the tongue. Their tongue is actually going too far back when they have trouble breathing while mewing. So whenever you engage the root of your tongue, you want to make sure that the root of your tongue, you are pulling the root up. And once you have the tongue up there, you're making it a point to push not only upwards but also forwards. And many people, what happens is they can't breathe while they mew because they're engaging the root of the tongue, sure, but they're kind of just pulling it in backwards, almost at this reverse vector. So instead of going upwards and forwards, it's almost like backwards and upwards. Now, if you bug your friends and family with the that's on you. I'm telling you right now, I'm not responsible if you really bugged your friends and family doing that. Yeah, no, that's on you.